mash
Oh
rock.
yeah.
I mean, I'll say this much for the Fox movie with like Michael Chiklis in it. They definitely went full Kirby on the design for how he looked. That was pretty cool to see. But
I
I
like
always
so much about those films, you
I
know.
I actually am a bigger fan of like pronounced brow Ben Grimm.
You want to go to about that? I want to leave as much on the table as you wanted. So if you want to ask me who inked What If number one, I can tell you. So it just kind of depends on what you want to do for format and all that. I just wanted to be ready.
Yeah, I mean, I how do I say this? I don't plan on necessarily focusing on any particular artist, inker, letterer, writer per se, unless of course they are of note. It'd be interesting to see, if so and so had done a what if story at some point. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
okay. Yeah.
But I like having the wealth of information because as we go along organically, especially if you have that in front of you, you want to throw something out there. I mean, that sparks the conversation for what this whole thing is. Like I was going to make mention of how interesting it was to see in Amazing Spider-Man #1, Steve Ditko's rendition of The Thing. Is very interesting to know that he did that at the same time that Kirby was doing Fantastic Four.
Did he have the? I didn't get to read that one, but did he have the pronounced eye ridges in that one?
No, it was more classic Kirby where it was just a mash rock.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I'll say this much for the Fox movie with like Michael Chiklis in it. They definitely went full Kirby on the design for how he looked. That was pretty cool to see. But
I like so much about those films,
I actually am a bigger fan of like pronounced brow Ben Grimm.
Mhm.
And I actually didn't mind Michael Chiklis as Ben Grimm per se, but my biggest issue with him with how they executed it was like I thought it was great that they made a practical costume, but they should have supplemented it with CGI by using that to make his size increase. I mean, thing is supposed to like fucking be the same size as like a base Hulk, like. And there's like, oh yeah, I'm all rock and I'm orange. It's like, yeah, but you're still the same fucking size as Michael Chiklis. You still look like the size of a fucking dude from Gloucester, you asshole. Like, good job, I
same
guess.
same bald head. Probably wears a Pantera shirt.
Yeah. And trying really hard not to drop his R's on the ends and middles of words.
Did he do that in American Horror Story? Oh yeah, okay, there you go. I see.
You're asking the wrong guy. I've never seen a single episode of it.
Yeah, look at him. He looks just gross.
Yeah,
you know what though? I mean, you gotta say this about like Spider-Man's design. Anytime he looks good, like from the very first issue here, it's like, yeah, he's pretty damn dynamic.
Yeah, I mean, Ditko did some really great design work for Spider-Man, but it's unfortunate. It's his own personal philosophies that got him driven out of mainstream comic books. If he hadn't taken such a fucking hard line on objectivism and sucking Ayn Rand's invisible dick, then he probably wouldn't have gotten into so many needless kerfuffles with other creative talent. Because that's really what did it. Like, it sucks that Stan Lee was like the showman and what have you that he was, but at the same time, you got to go along to get along occasionally, and it got to the point where everybody was arguing with Ditko over the stupidest bullshit, and nobody wanted to work with him anymore. Like, oh, he's a reformed criminal. Oh, there's no such thing. Okay, Steve, we get it.
Which is so odd because if you think about it, Spider-Man is that character that changes. So by his own definition, he should not be able to change.
Correct. Yeah, but the thing is, he wasn't a criminal. That's the thing. It's like objectivism is all about labeling and never being able to erase those labels. It's essentially saying, like, if you do bad things, then that means you'll always do bad things because bad people do bad things. Good people do good things, bad people do bad things. And if you're a good person but then you do a bad thing, you're a bad person from that point on. You're never good again. And that's fucking nuts.
Yeah, I mentioned that to my kids. We were talking about this, and I'm like, yeah, what do you guys think about objectivism?
I'm like, father, objectively.
And they fired a cannon at me. That was their answer. So, like Gonzo. Yes.
Do you want to start with amazing or what if?
That's tricky. You know what? I don't think that there needs to be like a huge separation. We can start with amazing and then dovetail it into the what if, because so much of the what if is fucking Amazing Spider-Man #1. I wish I had known that going into it, because that was fucking hard. Honestly, like, I don't really dig on some of the older shit because a lot of the writing especially is just so fucking sophomoric. It drives me bonkers, and I had to read that same shit like twice in a row. I was like, I literally was making notes as I was reading Amazing Spider-Man #1, like laughing and like, oh, I'll mention this and I'll say this. And then I started reading What If #1. I was like, oh God, you know what?
How could it be worse? And then,
like,
yeah,
it's like seeing an ugly twin. You know what I mean? Like you see like like somebody you think is like probably maybe a little unattractive, and you're like, oh, well, I mean, but then you see like the exact same unattractiveness like right behind it again. You're like, oh no, that was definitely ugly. Hey, you identical twin. Thank you, because like when your twin walked by, I thought like, oh, not bad, but then I saw you and you clinched it. You two are fucking ugly. Have a good day. That's kind of like what it got to be like until the point where everything was different. The Spider-Man joined the Fantastic Four. Like, instead of just saying like, fine, screw you guys, I'll go get my own Baxter Building with blackjack and hookers. In fact, forget the Baxter Building. And Sue Storm, wait, that whole thing was like, fuck you guys. And in the what if,
I can't wait to discuss the whole Sue Storm incident here, because I think it's interesting, and I think it's one of those things that'll be poignant for like a good conversation now.
Yeah, well, whatever's clever. So I have no idea like how we want to start this off.
I did have a suggestion for you.
Down. Oh, if you just say start talking about the comic, I'm gonna reach through this and slap you.
No, don't violate the laws of physics. My suggestion for you is
Fine.
to have something prepared eventually.
Yeah. I just didn't have the time to.
Yeah, we could have Leo start it off for us and say just like, hey everybody and welcome, or something like that, and introducing to you your hosts. Something along those lines, kind of like wingman it, just because that way we can identify you as the host, which would be kind of beneficial for first-time listeners, I think.
So all listeners got it.
Yep.
Sounds good. And the name is
Comics Paradox.
Comics Paradox.
I changed the name of the folder in Google Drive because you had the right words; they were just in the wrong order. I was like, this sounds like a fucking comic book store. I mean, I would admittedly go in and check it out, but that's not what this is.
It does sound like a comic book store, which is cool.
First thing I thought of, I was like, yeah, that sounds like it's in a like strip mall in like a suburban area. Like, kid goes there and he's like, this is the best it gets. And it's like, oh, buddy, wait till you get to an actual big city.
Do you have any Yu-Gi-Oh cards?
You're
Get
gonna
out
want
of
to
here,
check.
kid.
You're gonna want to check out the Wizards Duel. They really have all the best selection of like premium cards, but you sometimes have to ask them to like let you look at the case. They keep it covered. Too many look you lose. You know how it
Tell
goes.
me again about the time you pulled a Charizard.
Christ.
Well, Timmy, sit around and.
That's the second time Yu-Gi-Oh has come up today.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, what are the odds?
The first one was Kevin messaged me asking me if I still had my Yu-Gi-Oh cards I was looking to sell.
Wow.
I have some really old cards that are still brand new in the box, and
I have never seen kids get closer to like actually getting into knife fights than playing Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah.
And if there was one item seriously. And if there's one item that was stolen more than anything in my tenure at Blockbuster, it was Yu-Gi-Oh cards.
Really? Okay.
We could not keep them on the shelf because they were just so. We put them out there, gone.
oh wow.
Who the frick took these? You know, it's like whether it was employees or something. Like I have no idea because it was at different stores. Yeah. It's like 3 or 4 different stores, and it's just like, yep, they be stealing Yu-Gi-Oh cards again.
Mine are import. They're all Japanese.
Ooh,
so,
nice.
Yeah. It's nice because I haven't been able to find anybody to buy them yet. So
that's good though. So you drive the price up.
Yeah. Okay, so Comics Paradox. Okay,
yeah.
so I will introduce you, Brandon. Would introduce you as Powerful Brandon.
That's what my name fucking says, right?
Just making sure. And then you'll introduce Justin.
No. Actually, can you introduce me as Aloysius Q Thunderpants?
Aloysius.
Is this on your list?
No, I just made that up right
Okay.
now. Right off the top of my fucking brain right here.
His friends call him Gus Pence.
Right off the brainium. Gus for short, though. My friends call me Gus. You can call me Mr. Pants.